Hi, I'm Dr. Marianne Cintron, founder of Step by Step Dyslexia Solutions. This is a YouTube and a podcast to help parents with young children who need to learn how to help them if they have dyslexia. And it's also to help dyslexic adults who want to know that you're not alone. Maybe you've recognized dyslexia in your child and realized that this is what you've had all along. Well, I love to share stories. I love to interview parents. And I want to bring on a friend of ours who has been with us for 3 years, and her son has made great progress with our program and because of her strong support. And I want to introduce you to her again. Her name is Veronica Hyder. So Veronica, come on stage and say hi to our audience.
Hello.
So it's a beautiful day here in California, isn't it?
It is. It's very nice.
Veronica is a homeschool mom, and it's been a blessing having her. We had a little challenge this year, not knowing if she was going to be able to continue with all her heart she wanted to. And fortunately, we received a scholarship. Somebody matched what the charter school was paying. And so we're able to have Cruz in another year. And one of the things I wanted to talk to Veronica about, because I know she's so passionate about this, even though Cruz has made such great progress, you don't want to quit. You don't want to quit the intervention, right?
Right.
Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So going back to where he started, that's what sticks out to me the most is where he would be if he had not received this very specific intervention for his dyslexia. Going from that point to where I'm at now, I can really see full circle the value in this intervention, in that had he not received this, he wouldn't have been able to read. I mean, I don't know, I can't say for certain where he would be with, I don't think he would be as literate as he is now. And I think about how that would have impacted all of his other academic areas. Reading and, just that phonetic awareness and spelling, that is a foundation to be able to do all your other subjects. If you can't read, you don't understand language, and you have those processing issues, it makes learning all of the other subjects 10 times harder. So, being where we're at now and reaping the benefits of him being such a strong reader now, he went from not being able, to, it was so bad that he could not remember his letter sounds, A says A, B says B, to now being a very, very strong gifted reader. It's very scary for me to think that, or sad, I should say, that there's a lot of other kids in that same situation right now who, for many reasons, have not been able to get this kind of help. I think that the reason why we chose to continue, even though he is a strong reader, is that, having dyslexia, it presents challenges that I feel like regular curriculum, regular schools don't know how to help and assist. It's very specialized, this curriculum we're using with you. And I feel like as long as we can continue to build upon that, I don't think we should just stop because he can grasp it. I think that as far as he can go and as much support as he can get can only benefit him, because school gets more challenging as you get older and get into higher grades, and there's so much more to it too. I think outside of just knowing how to read, I think it's understanding what you're reading, the spelling and how language works, that I think can only benefit him as he gets into these more difficult levels, higher up, the higher grade levels. So
that's so true. I've had parents ask me, will my child be able to read in 3 months? Will my child get rid of this dyslexia. I mean, I've had questions asked, and I keep going back to this science that says if a student is in an intervention program, and this is when it's 4 or 5 days a week, and we're retraining the brain, the language center on the left side will look the same as a non-dyslexic student when there's an MRI done. And I know this from other training, other programs that I've taught, and the data with those programs. And so with our added component of music, kids can use the music or not use the music. We've seen accelerated success with the music, but some students don't want to use the music, and that's okay. We're still training the brain to let the left side be the dominant language center. Now you have other kids, and you have a young one who's just growing fast. And I know Cruz used to think his little kindergarten sister was smarter than him. Now, and now she's getting older. How do you juggle your priorities with your family and being a homeschool mom?
I kind of have always had a slogan in being a mom of multiple children, having 4, being a stay-at-home mom, and then venturing into homeschooling. I try to approach everything with major on the major and minor on the minors. And what I mean by that is find the most important things in the day that you're going to focus on, because you can't do everything. Nobody can. And I think that especially today, there's a constant bid for our attention and for our like to distract us. I think we feel, I think, almost involuntarily pulled to entertain things or compete in things that we really just don't even have the time for. But I think it's just cultural. Things are just constantly pulling us in to be better and have more, or be great at everything. And I feel like some days we go down to the very bare basics. Sometimes I can do a little bit more, and that's great. But I don't beat myself up if the house isn't perfect, or we sometimes do takeout for dinner, or I feel like if I have created a healthy, safe environment for my kids, if we're treating each other kindly, that's a big thing. That's a major in the house, because I think from that, everything else flows from that, just being loving. I think prioritizing in myself and in each of my kids, what are the most important things to get done that day, and anything else is extra. So just being confident in those core things, whatever those core things are for you as a mother, as long as you know that you're staying true to that, I feel like you gain a lot of peace about the decisions you've made. And for me, that's being a homeschooling mom of 4, and it's a battle.
Well, what are the ages of your kids so that our audience can relate?
I have my youngest daughter, she's 7, about to be 8. The next one is Cruz, my son, he's 10. The next one is Sienna, she's 13, my daughter, and then my eldest is 15, my son. So we have 7 to 15.
And are your older 2 kids supportive with the younger 2?
Yes, and that's the thing, going back to those core major things, is that I've really tried to cultivate as much as I can a loving home and supportive. And I think that when I was raising my first 2, the oldest, my first daughter and son, I really tried to train them to look out for each other and to help each other and support one another. And then when the next 2 came along, it kind of effortlessly flowed, because the older 2, had I raised them, a certain way. And so I had almost two other little helpers to help me, train these next two younger ones. And they're very, very supportive. Especially with Cruz, in the beginning of this journey with getting his dyslexia addressed. And, at that time, there was also a lot of behavioral issues that went along with it. I think there was a lot of frustration and not being able to get these concepts. And we made sure that when there was a victory that we went crazy, we would celebrate. And so the kids very much, I say, that makes my job easier in that they are each other's cheerleaders and best friends.
That's
that
neat.
makes, yeah.
One of the things we talk about is, I've heard parents say, our home used to be a battlefield and now we all get along. So we say we turn the home from a battlefield to a playground.
Yeah.
And
definitely.
I think your situation is very similar to that, correct?
Yeah. 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 It's not perfect. There's going to be little, frustrations and things like that. But my major was really trying to raise kind, loving people. So that way, when we go through these challenges, these battles, that, all hands are on deck and everybody's gifted in their own way and everybody can contribute in a different way. And so, yeah, that's been really neat to see with Cruz, that they have come alongside him and helped him through all of this.
And that says a lot for you and your husband, because we're not born with these kind natures of always wanting to give. We always want mine, and take. So
no,
it's a lot of discipline, and I applaud you for that.
Thank you. It is not, no, it's not how even myself, I have to constantly address that in myself too.
Me too.
Yeah.
So what would you say to parents who are struggling with really wanting to homeschool their children? They just don't know where to get started, or they don't have confidence in themselves as being able to homeschool their children.
Yeah, I very much relate to that. I was in that same place. I think, was it like 4 or 5 years ago, we decided to homeschool when my eldest was in 3rd grade. He's in 9. So actually 6 years ago.
Okay.
I was in the same situation. I considered myself to be the last person that would ever homeschool. Because, I don't see myself as particularly organized or, on top of everything. I really felt like you had to be, really perfect in every way to be a good homeschooling parent. But it's not that at all. I think that the biggest, advice I could give to a parent that's considering it is that you have to take your mind out of what you see public school, the brick and mortar system as. Like, that's not what homeschooling is. So if you're thinking that you have to replicate the public school system in your home, well, then yes, you're going to fail, because you're not a public school. You're one person, right? In your own home. Mm-hmm. So I think there is sacrifice. Yes, there's there's pros to everything, public school, homeschool, but I would very much encourage parents who are thinking about it or on the fence to think about being able to take control over their domain. And there's a lot of freedom in that. And our family, what we particularly really focused on with homeschooling is having fun and really honing in on each of our children's specific interests. And that's been fun for us. We really emphasized their unique individual, subjects that they loved, topics, lots and lots of.
Naturally, didn't it?
Yes.
As you start teaching them, you start seeing where they're strong and what they kind of don't want to do.
lots of field trips. That was the biggest bonus for me, as I've gotten to do and see so much with my kids. Now with COVID, that's kind of, taking a back seat, but I feel like homeschooling has almost enriched my life as much as theirs, in that I'm learning alongside them, and I make it fun, because if it's not fun, you're not going to want to do it. And yeah, so it is a little overwhelming when you first start. That's normal. Everybody feels that way, and you never feel like you've arrived. And I think that's just being human. You're always growing, and you're always, trying to improve. So there's never going to be a time where you feel like, oh, I got this. I have a handle on everything. That's just not realistic.
So
You're
let me
always,
just address
yeah,
the intervention that Cruz is getting is not something you would do with him.
right.
It's something that they would hire us to do the intervention for them.
Yes. So I could not do what he's receiving with you guys. That's just not something I feel equipped for. I feel like that takes a lot of training, and it takes a lot of education that I don't have. I'm so thankful, because I could not do it. I think I have enough on my plate, and
I think
so
that's a big thing.
Yeah, that's been instrumental. Like I feel like for our whole home, having a child who's struggling that much, it takes up a lot of time, and it takes up a lot of the attention from the other children. So that has been a blessing to our whole family, that he's received this help outside of, what I can give.
That's great. And I do have a parent who purchased my training videos and curriculum. She's also a teacher, and she wasn't seeing her daughter's needs met at the school. So she actually changed and now works at her daughter's school. And she's her daughter's teacher, providing this intervention.
That's awesome.
And helping other kids. So it's amazing. So this is also an opportunity for parents who do work, but you're with your children, or paraprofessionals. I see so many different ways this reading program could be adopted, but I think it's got to go through the homeschool, the parents, because there's so much in the public school where they, their hands are so tied in so many ways, or their teachers aren't trained, and they just don't even want to seem to go there. So my heart really is going out to the homeschool moms right now.
Yeah. There's a lot of needs, and I think that, the public school, it definitely serves a place and a purpose for a lot of kids. But I just don't think they have the resources or the people to meet, these really specialized needs, like dyslexia and stuff like that. I think that what Cruz did with at home intensively with you probably would have taken years if he had done it through the public school, because they just have to, spread themselves out so much more thin, right? So that's something that I often think about, is just how much he was able to accomplish, because we pushed for that minimum of 3 to 5 days a week of, that was key, in my opinion. That was key.
I know it's harder with COVID. 3 times is really taxing on the children, but 3 times is amazing. We're going to go ahead and wrap this up, because I know our listeners will tune in for about 15 to 30 minutes is how it is. But what would you like to say as a final close to the moms out there?
I think if there's moms out there who have children that are, struggling, and they don't feel like they're getting the help that they need from their school, definitely look into other options. Speak to somebody like Marianne. That changed my life. Like I said, I repeat myself like a broken record. I kind of shudder when I think of where Cruz and my whole family would be had we not met you and linked up and given Cruz that specific intervention. Don't feel like you're pigeonholed in any one way. Look up in your local, areas, any kind of advocates, or I'm a huge proponent for Marianne and her curriculum. But don't feel like you have to take what the school says as, the golden rule. You do have options, and
Mhm.
it is scary, it's overwhelming, but it'll work out.
Okay. Thank you. I just want to
Yeah.
remind the audience, we are a 501c3 nonprofit organization. And if what we have shared has inspired you, maybe you can make a donation. Maybe you could sponsor another student who's homeschooling, but needs a little additional support to continue the education with intervention. So I want you to go to my website, dyslexia-solutions.com, and let's schedule some time to meet up with me and we can talk. I want to thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you, Veronica, for your time today.
Thank
And I
you.
hope you all have a blessed day. Bye-bye now.